How many times have you postponed something you know is important for your life? Not because you're busy, but because you're afraid. Your problem was never time, you're just lost in distractions that mean nothing. And you think you're lazy? The truth is, you're avoiding confrontation. Perfection has never helped you reach your goals. It always pulls you back. And procrastination? It's the silent killer of dreams. If you wait until you're ready, you might never start. The secret? Start now, even if you're not ready. Because successful people don't wait for motivation, they show up, even when they don't feel like it. From the book, Do It Today, by the author Darius Foroux, you'll know everything you need about how to overcoming procrastination by focusing on action and practical strategies. Can we be honest for a second? You're not lazy. You're not broken. You don't need more planners, productivity hacks, or another motivational video. What you need is to understand yourself just a little better. Procrastination isn't what most people think it is. It's not a time management problem. It's not about being disciplined or just trying harder. It's emotional. It's human. Most of us procrastinate not because we don't care, but because what we need to do actually matters, and that terrifies us. Think about it. How many times have you delayed a project because you didn't know how to start? Or held off writing that email because the thought of rejection clamped your chest? You want it to be perfect, but because perfect is impossible, you end up doing nothing at all. That's the truth most people don't talk about. Fear. A fear of failure, a fear of inadequacy, and sometimes a fear of even succeeding, because what if you can't keep it up? And there's another cause, one we overlook: clarity, or rather, the lack of it. When you don't have a clear goal or when the task feels overwhelming, your brain does what it's designed to do: protect you. It tricks you into avoiding anything uncomfortable. Let me give you an insight that might change how you see yourself. You're not lazy, you're avoiding discomfort. That's the root of procrastination. It's not about being irresponsible. It's about how your mind copes with fear, uncertainty, and overwhelm. You push things to the side because working on what matters most feels risky. Here's something powerful to keep in mind. Most people don't need more time. They need less distraction and more courage. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know the outcome. You just need to take the first step, even if it's small. So let's reframe procrastination. It's not laziness. It's a signal, a way of your brain showing you where the pressure points are. Fear of failure, perfectionism, lack of clarity. The things you procrastinate on are often the things that matter most to you, and that's exactly why they feel so hard to face. But you can face them, one small action at a time. If you feel you're benefiting from this video, support the content by liking and subscribing to the LifeRise channel so videos like this one continue to appear for you. Let's talk about time. There's never enough of it, right? You've got deadlines, unfinished projects, and a to-do list that multiplies like it's alive. It feels like if you could just manage your time better, you'd finally get your life together. But here's the truth. Time management isn't the real problem. It's attention management. Think about it. How much of your day is spent scattered, bouncing between emails, notifications, and the endless scrolling of social media? It doesn't matter how perfectly you schedule your time if your attention is constantly being pulled away. Here's what most people get wrong. They treat time like it's the most valuable resource they have. But the real currency of life is attention. Let that sink in for a moment. Every minute you spend distracted, multitasking, or chasing shallow tasks is a minute you'll never get back. The problem isn't how little time you have, it's how much of it is spent fragmented, focused on things that don't move you forward. So, how do you reclaim your attention? It starts with habits, simple ones that help you gain control of your focus. 1. Avoid multitasking.
You've probably heard this before, but it's worth repeating. Multitasking destroys focus. Switching between tasks makes your brain work harder, so instead of doing everything halfway, focus on one task at a time. 2. Minimize digital distractions. Do you really need constant notifications? Probably not. Turn them off. Leave your phone in another room when you're working on something important. Create spaces where deep focus is possible. 3. Block time for deep work. Think of focus like a muscle. It grows stronger with practice. Dedicate specific blocks of time to uninterrupted, meaningful work. This is where you do the hard, creative, or critical thinking tasks that actually matter. Here's something to hold on to. The real challenge isn't time, it's attention. When you start managing your attention, when you guard it and direct it toward what's meaningful, you stop feeling like you're running out of time. Your days feel less chaotic. You find yourself making progress, not overwhelmed by your to-do list, but making deliberate choices about where your focus goes. So, stop obsessing over to-do lists and time-tracking apps. Instead, start paying attention to, well, your attention. Where is it going? What's stealing it? And more importantly, are you using it in a way that brings you closer to the life you want?
Let's get one thing straight. Perfectionism isn't a strength. It might seem like it is, like having impossibly high standards is the key to success, but in reality, perfectionism is stealing your progress right out from under you. Because here's the truth most people don't tell you. Perfectionism is procrastination in disguise. You don't put off writing that report or finishing that project because you don't care. You put it off because you care so much that the thought of doing it poorly paralyzes you. The need to be perfect stops you from even starting. You tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow when I have more time, or I'll start when I feel more motivated. But here's the catch. Tomorrow never comes, and waiting for the perfect moment guarantees nothing gets done. What's worse, perfectionism builds this all-or-nothing mindset. Either it's flawless or it's a failure. And living in that black and white thinking leaves you stuck, overwhelmed, and constantly second-guessing yourself. Let me offer you a new mindset. If it's worth doing poorly at first. Think about that for a second. We're so afraid of imperfection that we forget the actual key to progress: starting ugly. So how do you break free from perfectionism? Start by trading perfect for progress. 1. Focus on starting, not finishing. Forget about the perfect result for now. Just focus on getting started. Write the first messy sentence. Take the first awkward step. Doing something, anything, creates momentum. 2. Learn to embrace imperfection. Remind yourself that perfection isn't possible, especially on the first try. Mistakes are where the actual growth happens. 3. Celebrate small wins. Each step forward, no matter how rough, is progress. Finished the first draft? Great. Made it through 10 minutes of a tough task? That's a win. Recognize that these tiny victories add up to big changes. Here's a truth you may need to hear. The need to be perfect will destroy your progress every single time. But even a tiny, imperfect action will move you closer to where you want to be. As the book puts it, if it's worth doing poorly at first. So, let go of the idea that everything has to be flawless the first time. Start small, start messy, start imperfect. Because the only way to achieve progress is to take action, no matter how imperfect that action might be. Progress will always beat perfection.
You've probably heard the phrase, "I'll start when I feel ready." It's comforting, isn't it? This idea that there will be a magical moment when motivation strikes, when all your doubts disappear and everything just falls into place. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That moment isn't coming. Waiting to feel ready is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. If you wait for motivation to inspire you into action, you'll spend your life watching opportunities pass you by. Because motivation doesn't come first, action does. Let's break this down. Ever notice how once you start something, even if it's small, you build momentum? That's because action generates motivation, not the other way around. Think about the times you've taken on a task you were dreading. At first, it feels impossible, but then you begin. When you make even the smallest dent, write a sentence, clean one corner of the room, or work on something for just 2 minutes, you suddenly find a rhythm. Starting creates progress, and progress feeds motivation. Here's a powerful reminder. Discipline will take you places motivation can't. So how can you start before you're ready? Here are the keys. 1. Use the 2-minute rule. Tell yourself you'll work on a task for just 2 minutes. It might sound too simple, but it tricks your brain into starting. And here's the magic. Once you're in motion, it's easier to keep going. 2. Finish small things first. Look for those bite-sized tasks you can knock out quickly. They create a quick sense of accomplishment and help you build momentum. 3. Think in systems, not goals. Goals are useful, but they're not enough. Systems, like habits and routines, are how things actually happen. Rather than thinking, I will write a book, think, I'll write for 15 minutes every day. Systems create consistency, and consistency leads to results. Here's the key to remember. You don't need motivation to start. You need action. Even the smallest action, taking one step towards something you've been avoiding, can completely shift your perspective. It's not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about showing up and doing the work, one tiny piece at a time. As the book says, discipline will take you places motivation can't. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. It's not coming. But the good news, you don't need it. All you need is a willingness to start small, to act before you're ready, and to trust that the momentum you build will take you further than you ever imagined.
Let's take a step back. You've learned how procrastination works, you've learned how to focus your attention, and you've even confronted perfectionism and discovered that small actions create motivation. But here's the real question. What are you building toward? Because productivity means nothing if you're climbing the wrong ladder. If you're chasing goals that don't truly matter to you, you'll end up exhausted, burned out, and wondering why it doesn't feel like enough. The truth is, you can't just manage your tasks. You've got to design your life. Here's what most people get wrong. They think of procrastination as the enemy of productivity. But often, procrastination is your mind's way of telling you something deeper. Maybe a task feels meaningless. Maybe a goal isn't aligned with what you really want. Ask yourself, am I doing this because it matters to me or because I feel like I should? When you keep chasing meaningless achievements, life becomes something you're constantly trying to escape from, whether that's through workaholism, distractions, or just feeling empty at the end of the day. But when you align your daily actions with your true values, you create meaning. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. So how do you design a life that feels meaningful? Start with these principles. 1. Ask yourself the big questions. What do you truly want? Not what others expect of you, not what society tells you to chase. What lights you up? 2. Eliminate meaningless goals. If you're working towards something that doesn't align with your values, let it go. Free up your energy for what really matters. 3. Live intentionally. Don't live in constant reaction mode, jumping from one task to another. Build your day around the things that bring you closer to the life you want. 4. Create space for rest and reflection. Productivity isn't about hustling every moment. It's about knowing when to slow down, reflect, and recharge. A life worth living includes balance, joy, and moments of calm. As the book says, Productivity isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. So imagine waking up every day to a life you don't need to escape from, a life where your actions are meaningful, where your work reflects your values, and where you make space for rest and joy. That's not a fantasy. It's something you can start building, one small step at a time. Procrastination isn't about being lazy. It's about fear, perfectionism, and a lack of clarity. But with the right tools, by managing your attention, embracing imperfection, taking action, and aligning your actions with your values, you can break free from the cycle. The most important lesson from all of this, it's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things, the things that make your life richer, more purposeful, and filled with meaning. So here's your call to action. Start now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready. Start messy, start small, start scared, but start. Your best life isn't waiting for the perfect moment. It's waiting for you to take one imperfect step toward it.
Now you know what's really making you put off your tasks. But here's the twist. Stopping procrastination isn't just about forcing yourself to work. What if you could actually use your laziness to get more done with less effort? That's exactly what I cover in the next video, and if you skip it, you'll miss the strategy that could make productivity feel effortless. Click here and see how laziness can actually become your secret advantage.